Alrighty, we are live, my friends. So, one of the biggest misconceptions about dividend investing is that it is a strategy that only makes sense for people who are in retirement who need the income to pay their bills today. Um, in this live stream, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, maybe where this misconception came from, and I'm also going to try my best to dispel it and share with you why this misconception is a bit unfounded. So that's what we're going to be getting into. But before we get to that, welcome to another Dividend Happy Hour. I'm so excited to be back with you guys for another week. Let me know a couple things real quick in the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching the replay. I've got 3 things for you tonight. Number 1, let me know what stocks you picked up this week. I'd be curious to hear what you guys bought. Number 2, what are you sipping on tonight for the Dividend Happy Hour? And number 3, what was the third one? Number 3, did you guys hit any milestones in your portfolio this week? Anything cool happen? You know, maybe a new portfolio value, a new dividend income milestone, anything like that? Let me know in the live chat or in the comments below. And also, I kind of skipped this, but we got to take care of this, guys. We got to kick it off with a cheers. I'm so sorry I jumped right over that. But hey, guys, here's to another good week. Here's to the yield. Here's to the growth. And here's to that sweet, sweet cash flow. And also here's to all of you guys tuning in tonight for the happy hour. Wrong pipe. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. That's a bit embarrassing. Oh my gosh. That really went down the wrong pipe. It's not even a margarita either. So I'm drinking something called an Olipop. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm drinking something called an Olipop, which I guess my fiance picked up a few of them, and they're pretty good. But this one's strawberry vanilla flavored, and it's got like prebiotics, so it's supposed to be good for your stomach, good for your gut health. Apparently not so good for your throat, but man, that was not good. But anyway, I'm going to go through some of the comments real quick, go through some of the live chat, see what you guys have to say. I got to say what's up to some of you guys, too. I see a lot of the usual suspects. I see Good Tunes. I see Mesha. I see G-Man. Big E is in the building. We got my man Zal, who joined us tonight. Zal, aren't you working Friday nights, man? Aren't you on that Friday night shift typically? We got Sean in the building, Charles, Oscar, Brad's here. We got Rick, Luis, Wing Addiction, Shamir. What's up, Shamir? Kevin's here. Looks like Kevin. I was reading your little story that you were writing out before the stream started. I was cracking up, man. And real quick, I don't know if you guys see a little tail back there, but the man of the hour is, of course, in the building. Our show producer. We've got Peanut the cat. Who else is here? We've got Adon, Mountain High is in the building. Let's see, Phil. Oh, and he's on the move. Phil's here. We've got Dean, Trace. What's going on now? I'm not even to the point where the live stream started yet. Chris is here. TCAF. A lot of you guys were here early. I saw a lot of really good interaction going before the stream started. I think we started the stream. This is a new record, actually. Started the stream with 40 people just waiting to tune in, which is honestly really makes me feel good. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in again. For always tuning in, I should say. TCAF's here. Ray, Jack. What's up, Jack? Christian's here. Who else? We got Potatoes and Gravy, my man. Bruno. Good to see you, Bruno. We got Adam. We got Brett. We got Hans. Miguel. Megan. Dennis. Eli. David. El Dynamico. Matt. Benny. Girl Dad. Investor. And sorry, guys, I'm going to... There's so many of us here. So many of us. And I'm happy to see all of you guys. So... let's see here. What did you guys pick up this week? Let's go through a few of these. Then we'll get into the main event. And for those of you who are just now tuning in, tonight we're talking about one of the biggest misconceptions about dividend investing. It's something that something you'll hear all the time. I'll come to it in a minute, but in the live stream, once we get to the main event, whatever this big misconception is, I'm going to try and see if we can get to the bottom of where this came from and see if maybe it makes sense, and also maybe why it's not something you should take with a grain of salt, I should say. But anyway, as far as purchases, I see some SCHD, of course. I see Snap-on. I see Walgreens Boots Alliance, which has been looking very cheap. Along with that, I see some CVS. Luis hit a really cool milestone in his portfolio, it looks like. Surpassed the $125,000 mark in the portfolio, which is crazy, man. Good job. That's very impressive. I see some AbbVie and Realty Income. Adam's here drinking his Tremana. Is that a type of tequila? I think that's tequila, right? Tremana's a brand of tequila. I got to Google that. Yeah, sure is. Small batch tequila. Oh, Terramana. That's I know that. That's the Rocks brand of tequila. Let's see here. We got Hans drinking a dank full IPA. Good for you, man. Let's see here. I see some Coca-Cola pickups, couple of them, and maybe probably some what you guys are swigging on there. Realty Income. We've got, yeah. Brad says I want what Ryan is having. Man, I don't know what. That doesn't happen very often, and I mean it happens to everyone it multiple times in their lives. But yeah, I just wish you guys didn't have to see that. It's all good though. We'll carry on. Christian, let's see. Really nice shopping spree for Christian. Apple, Microsoft, Realty Income, Vici, Costco, Visa, and SCHD. The whole kit and caboodle. Very nice. Let's see here. I see a lot of you guys staying hydrated out there with some H2O. Good for you. Good for you. Let's see here. Christian says, and water, this Vegas heat is killer right now. It sure is, man. It's been extremely toasty. Let's see. Benny here had a nice little shopping spree as well. AbbVie, Johnson & Johnson, Kroger, and T. Rowe Price. Very nice. Let's see here. What else we got? I see a lot of you guys drinking Pepsi, too. Very nice. Real quick, we got to welcome Trace. Trace says, hey, Ryan, this is my first time watching the live stream. Love the content. I'm sipping on a rum and Coke. Good for you, my friend. Happy to have you aboard. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Shaping is drinking a Body Armor owned by none other than Coca-Cola. Have you guys ever had one of those? I haven't tried one of those yet, but what do you think of those? Are the Body Armors pretty good? Let's see here. Ooh, Dominique's got a cool little milestone. I didn't really think of this one, but this is really cool. So finally, her portfolio finally reached over a 5% yield after picking up some of those Canadian blue chips, transitioning slowly more to income. Good stuff. 5% is no joke. Adon had a nice milestone too. Said it in the Discord, which, by the way, if you guys are not in the Discord group, it's totally free to join. There is a link to it in the description of the live stream. You just click the link. It'll take you right there. I think at this point we are, if we're not already there, we will be there tomorrow. There's about 2,200 different members in the Discord group, which is incredible. It's really growing like a weed, but it's a really cool place. A lot of really great people in there. A lot of you guys here in the live stream I know are in the Discord group, but there's some of you who are not. Highly recommend you guys join. It's a lot of fun. Really great way to interact and hang out with some other dividend investors. And it's a great place to learn, too. Everyone there is always, willing to share their investing advice. So link in the description if you guys want to join the Discord. But Adon here says, I bought my 100th share of SCHD, gunning for 120. Good stuff. It's really nice. Let's see here. Let's keep going. I'm way behind in the live chat. I'm about 5 minutes behind now. So let me scroll up here because we got to get into the main stuff, because this one I put together a lot of notes for this one. I don't know how long it'll take to get through, but we'll see what happens. But Dominique said, this is a good question. Did you watch Andre Jik tonight? His video is so inspiring for dividend investors. No, I have it in my watch later. I saw it. It's something about how he got rich with dividends. I don't watch every single one of Andre's videos, but he's someone who actually, he got me into investing, into dividend investing, a few years ago. And every time, I love it when he puts out dividend investing content. That used to be his bread and butter, and I loved watching that stuff. And so every time he puts out a video like the one he did today, I'm so excited to watch it. But anyway, guys, let me keep scrolling here, see if there's anything crazy that I missed. Let's see here. X to the what? X to the who? X Dividend Dad. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. We are going to be reviewing X Dividend Dad's portfolio tonight in the after party, by the way, which we will be commencing immediately after this live stream ends. So it's just a bonus live stream that we do every single week. You guys can tune into that. There's a link to it in the description as well. But ex-dividend ad, get ready, man. I got some good notes for you on the portfolio. So, but anyway, guys, let's how about we get into it? I'm all caught up here. All caught up here in the live chat. So, okay, for those of you who are just now joining, once again, I know I've said it a couple times, but tonight we're talking about the biggest misconception, or one of the biggest misconceptions about dividend investing. Let me pull up my notes here. So just to reiterate, the big misconception is that dividend investing is something that really only makes sense if you're someone who's in retirement or is close to retirement and you need to live off of that income. Otherwise, a lot of people say it doesn't make sense to be investing in dividend stocks. Many people think that if this is not your situation, if you're not retired, if you don't need the income, then you're better off investing in something that will put more emphasis on share price appreciation over cash flow. And remember, both of those things come together to form your total return, but many people think you should emphasize growth in the accumulation stage. Share price returns, you want to see those increasing over the years, which is true. Definitely agree with that. But one of the reasons, there's a couple reasons I think people think this is a better approach than going the dividend route early on. The first of which has to do with taxes. And you will have heard this before. Dividends are a forced taxable event. That's something that a lot of the naysayers, a lot of people who are not the biggest fans of dividend investing like to say. They'll refer to dividends as being a forced taxable event that not only lowers the share price to account for the dividend being paid, which is something that we can see right here, when the ex-dividend date occurs, which is when you have to be a shareholder to be eligible to receive the dividend. It's kind of the cutoff. Upon the ex-dividend date, you will notice that oftentimes, well, pretty much every time, I think that's kind of just the rule, the share price will drop by the amount that the dividend is being paid, and that's reflected on this graphic here. If the share price was $10 before the ex-dividend, and they're paying a $1 dividend after the ex-dividend date, the share price drops to $9 to reflect that ex-dividend, or to reflect the dividend being paid. But furthermore, people say that it's a forced taxable event because, you are taxed on the dividend income you receive. So makes sense, right? Now, this is in contrast to the strategy that they're opting for, which is share price appreciation, where you only have to pay taxes when you sell shares of your stock, right? Got to pay those capital gains tax. Otherwise, there's no taxable event occurring because there's no dividend involved. But with that in mind, I would say, to kind of push back on that, if taxes are such a big concern for the investor in this situation, we know there are ways to dividend invest where it's tax efficient. We don't have to get too deep into this video, but there is a way to make all of this tax efficient if you want to. We got Roth IRAs. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the tax rates because you can use those to your advantage as well. But at any rate, assuming that we're investing in just a regular taxable brokerage account, chances are you will have to pay some taxes on your dividends. And just a quick overview, just to put up some of the tax rates. This is for 2023. So looking at qualified dividends, which is going to come from something like a Procter & Gamble or a Coca-Cola or some of those standard companies, there's a chance you won't even have to pay taxes on those in a taxable brokerage account. If with your active income and passive income, everything combined, just looking at single, you can look at all the different categories there, but just sticking with single for the sake of time and simplicity. If you make overall less than $44,625, you won't have to pay any taxes on your qualified dividends. Now, this changes when it comes to REITs or business development companies or funds that pay non-qualified dividends or ordinary dividends. You'll have to pay tax on these no matter what in a taxable brokerage account. Okay, if you're making under $11,000 as a single individual, you'll pay 10%. You guys can look at the chart right there. But in a very basic nutshell, that is how the taxes work. Now, the important thing to keep in mind with this, I think, is that the taxes that you will pay will likely be less. The taxes that you will pay on your dividend income, rather, especially in retirement, will likely be less than what the taxes you'll have to pay from your active job, from your 9 to 5, which is really, when you get to the root of it, that's what we dividend investors are trying to escape, right? We're trying to stop working. We're trying to leave the 9 to 5 and use this passive income to pay our bills. Now, at worst, the taxes on your dividend income in retirement will be equal to the taxes that you would pay in your active 9 to 5, because those non-qualified, those ordinary dividends, they're taxed at the same rate as your active income. And that's like worst case scenario. In this situation, this would mean that if the tax rates are equal between active and passive income. This would mean that you're invested 100% in non-qualified ordinary dividends, which would mean that your portfolio is basically 100% REITs, 100% business development companies. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anyone whose portfolio actually looks like that. So I don't think that's really the best argument. I think that this forced taxable event, while technically true, is kind of a low-hanging fruit for the naysayers. It's not, I don't know, to me, it's not the end of the world. So overall, yes, you'll have to pay some taxes, but if all things are the same, and you're making the same amount from between your active income and your passive income. Let's say you make $5,000 a month at your job, $5,000 a month passive income. Let's say it's all REITs, all business development companies, all non-qualified dividends, which is pretty unrealistic. But let's just say, worst case scenario, you'll have to pay the same amount of taxes, but still, in that scenario, I mean, wouldn't you prefer just to have the passive income? If you're making the same amount and you no longer need the job, I mean, wouldn't you just rather, isn't it still better just to have the passive income and not have to work for it? Even though the taxes are the same, isn't it still an overall better situation to not have to work for that same amount of money? That's kind of how I look at it. Probably maybe oversimplistic look, but at the same time, I don't want to overcomplicate things too much. But anyway, the second reason for this big misconception comes from the idea that owning dividend stocks will result in worse performance, worse total returns, which spawns from something called the dividend irrelevance theory. And this is something you guys have probably heard of before. You may have seen videos on it. I know there's a few videos floating around on YouTube that talk about the dividend irrelevance theory. But in case you haven't heard of it, it goes on to state that dividends can hurt the company's long-term growth potential because when you are paying out the dividends, or when they're paying out the dividends, it actually would be better off reinvested in the company to help further the growth of the company, retain those earnings, use that to fuel more growth for the business, which would then, in theory, raise the share price more over time. So you're missing out on share price gains at the expense of receiving those dividends. Or you're receiving those dividends, rather, at the expense of greater share price returns. And there is some merit to this idea. So some companies, particularly those that are younger with higher, more aggressive growth potential, it may not be the best idea for them to pay out a dividend. They may be better off holding on to those funds, holding on to the dividends holding on to the capital that they could use for dividends and reinvesting that back into the business and realizing that probably hyper growth potential. But then there are some other companies, on the other hand, I might have said on the other hand twice. I apologize if I did. But anyway, there are some others where it does make sense for them to pay a dividend. And these are typically companies that are more mature, financially stable companies that frankly don't always have a better use for that money. They wouldn't be able to effectively put all of that money to work if they didn't pay the dividend. And we can use something like Procter & Gamble as an example. Now, they go around acquiring all these different soap and laundry detergent brands, all these different consumer staples brands. That's kind of their jig, right? But the thing is, there's not always new soap and laundry detergent brands to acquire. There's not always worthwhile acquisitions to be made. And they also may not find it to be an effective use of capital for them to invest more into marketing or research and development or hiring more employees. There might just not be a better use of that capital, in which case, why not reward the shareholders? Why not give that to some of them in the form of a dividend? And so it can make sense. But once again, this is part of your due diligence as an investor to try and decide if the management team is allocating the capital in the best possible way. Does it make sense that they're paying dividends? As much as we love the dividends and we typically abide by the more the merrier rule of thumb, you need to look at, does more dividends make the most sense? It depends on the company, really. So the dividend irrelevance theory can be relevant depending on the company, but it's not it's not gospel by any means. But anyway, the point is, if you were to, though that's actually zooming out a little bit, those two things are kind of why I think this misconception came about, and why some people think that it doesn't make sense to adopt a dividend investing approach if you are someone who has more time on your side, if you are someone who's younger and doesn't need the income. But I think the opposite of this is true. I actually think if you are going to adopt a dividend investing approach, which obviously I'm a huge proponent for, certainly have bias in this argument. The truth is that it is better to start when you are younger and do have the luxury of time on your side to be able to harness the power of compounding, to be able to build that dividend snowball effect, because the more time you have, the longer your investment runway, the better off you're going to be. And this is not probably news to anybody. We talk about this all the time. Now, the sooner that you invest, obviously, the more your dividends can be reinvested, which allows for more significant reinvestment, which is essentially the dividend snowball. And with that in mind, there's another reason why these naysayers, the people who push back on dividend investing, especially for younger people, there's another reason they turn their nose up at this stuff. And this part is certainly true. This is another thing we talk about all the time. It's because dividend investing is a slower way to invest. It's not I talk about this all the time. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not something that's going to give you immediate gratification. And with dividend investing, chances are, let me go over here, chances are you're not going to be able to get returns like this. This is just not going to happen by investing in Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, and the like. You're not going to get 200% return. I mean, stranger things have happened. It's possible for sure, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to get returns like this investing in something like the companies that I just mentioned or anything of the like, okay? And for some people, it's just not fast enough. This is just not it's not an exciting, it's not a fulfilling way to invest. There are people who are looking for faster returns. They're seeking faster returns, and that's fine. But with that in mind, I don't think there's any denying that dividend investing still offers a proven path to building long-term wealth. So this topic exactly, I wrote about this topic in my newsletter this week, which if you guys can read it, there's a link to that in the description as well. I don't mean to keep plugging things, but in that newsletter, in that email that I sent out, I asked for responses, just people telling me, when they started investing and stuff like that. And so far I've gotten about 30 different responses, all really good ones. And a fair amount of those were people going in depth on their investing story, which was extremely motivating. But a lot of these people started investing, some as young as 20, some 30, some even in their 40s, right? And some even in their 50s. There were a couple of people, 51, 52, 53, that have just started to invest. Those that were later on in kind of older in age, the 40s to the 50s to the mid 50s, in every single one of those emails, every one of them said, and you'll hear every investor say this, they all said, I'm kicking myself for not starting sooner. I wish I had started sooner. This is embarrassing, but I'm so late to the game. They had that sentiment. And then on the other hand, those who are now about that age, but maybe started a couple decades ago and have a lot of investing under their belt, said, the stories were just incredible. A lot of them didn't even start off as dividend investors necessarily. They kind of found their way there after a few years, but they started younger and they had the time to compound, and they said the opposite. I'm so glad that I did this when I did, because in some of the cases, they were able to retire in their mid-40s or in general considerably younger and considerably earlier than they otherwise would have been able to. And a few of them are living fully, completely off of their passive dividend income. So I don't know. Like I said, it's just a proven path. There are so many case studies. There's so many examples of people who have started younger and have made this work. Kevin Burgess, I don't know if Kevin's in the live stream right now. He's another one. Look at ex-dividend or Gen X dividend investor. Sorry, I was going to say ex-dividend dad. You're inspiring too, man. You're looking at your portfolio. It's very impressive. Gen X dividend investors living off dividends. Who else? PPC Ian's probably pretty close. We were talking about Andre. He's making $100 a day in dividends. He's a young dude, which is very inspiring, very motivating. So it definitely works. And speaking personally, I've only been doing this for about 3.5 years, which in the grand scheme of things is not a long period of time at all. But in that time, guys, I've seen my portfolio, I've seen my monthly dividend income go from being basically nothing, like in some months, less than $1 in the entire month to where it's at now, averaging, almost $190 every single month. $6 a day. $6 a day. That's a grande coffee with some cream and Splenda and a buttered croissant from Starbucks every day. Well, until they raise the prices to where I can't afford it. But for now, every day for the rest of my life, paid for from dividends. Only 3.5 years of work, and but I realized it's like, okay, Ryan, it's a couple $100. Settle down. I get it. I'm not going to retire off that tomorrow, but my goodness gracious, it's come such a long way in a shorter amount of time than I thought. So it definitely works. And I started decently young too. I'll be 30. I'll be 30 2 weeks from today, and which I don't think we're going to be doing a live stream, by the way, guys, on my birthday. Maybe we will. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I started decently young. I started when I was 26, probably about 3.5 years ago now at this point. And even so, I still wish I'd started earlier, because once again, the sooner you get going, the sooner you start investing, the sooner you can get to that point where you're bringing in $5 a day, $6 a day. And the sooner you can experience the benefits of the great and powerful dividend snowball effect. It's just, I don't know, it's such a hard thing to beat. It's not perfect. It does have its downsides. There's some merit to some of the arguments against the style of investing. But in my personal opinion, the pros far outweigh the cons. And so with that said, I'm very proud to be a dividend investor. But I want to put it back on you guys. I want to ask you, kind of an interesting question, a little bit different one. Not with this question, you can see it on the screen. I'm not asking how old were you when you started investing. More so, I'm asking how old were you when you first became familiar with the concept of investing. Not when you started. When did this first get on your radar? And how old were you? And do you remember what it even was? What your first exposure to the concept of investing was? I'd be curious to know. I know for me it was through my parents. I've told this story a handful of times, but I remember being 11, 12, maybe 13, probably somewhere in that age range, and having my parents open up a custodian account for me and all my siblings. And that kind of kicked things off. That's the same portfolio that I use today that I always show you guys. But when you're that young, it's just like it's like, who cares? It's definitely wasn't something I was interested in. But interestingly enough, going back to the emails that I received from this topic and from the newsletter I sent on this topic, one kid, I don't know if he's watching. He may be watching. If you are, let me know in the live chat or the comments. 13 years old, said he started investing at 13 years old. I actually put up a tweet about it. He started investing at 13 years old because he was watching videos on the topic, and it seemed like a really cool thing. And I thought, man, and this is my tweet about it said, if I can get more emails like this, if I can get people excited about this stuff, because it is an exciting thing. It really is. A lot of people don't find it to be exciting, but it's extremely fulfilling, it's extremely exciting, and it's very rewarding and potentially life-changing if you start soon enough. And actually, no matter what, it's life-changing. But I was just blown away that someone that young just became interested in this stuff and started doing this today because of something they saw and someone else talking about their experience with it. I thought that was a really cool thing. So anyway, I'm going to go through enough rambling. I'm going to go through some of your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say and how you first heard about investing. So let me see here. Scroll it up. Let's see. So Mountain High found out about it about 39. Yeah, this is true. This is a really good point from Brett. If you regret not starting earlier, remember that it used to be harder. There weren't always apps and free trades. Just make the most of it now. That's a great way to look at it. Oscar, 37 when he found out about investing. Nice here. I hope I pronounced that right. Found out about it about 14. Luis, about 37 years old, 2 months. He started at 37, 2 months after he learned about it. David learned about it at 18 all by himself. Dean, 35. Kevin, 20 years old. Jack, who's another young guy, heard about it, but I started to understand it 14 to 15. That's crazy. Big E, 28, but I didn't pay attention to it until about 40. Okay. Hero of the table, probably 20 or so, was through my company retirement plan. TCAF, 15 or 16. Dad started a custodial account. That's great. That's really good. Dominique, I'm in trouble here. I was 6 months ago old when I learned about dividend growth investing. Yeah. Haunt, I didn't learn about it till I was 49. Pizza, yeah. So look at this, guys. Just a couple months ago, 12 years old, I started watching me and Andre, the two amigos, and that got me started in dividend investing and actually learning how to research companies and earn income. That's crazy. That's so awesome. Honestly, like I said, if I can see more stuff like this, then, I'll consider my job. I'll consider that if I let me rephrase this. Sorry. If I can get more stuff like this popping up, 12, 13, 15, I've done my job. Sam, 27 years old. That's great. Jim, 2007. Thomas, in his 20s. Eli, 16 to 17, because he didn't want to work till 65. Didn't start till 21, yeah. Zal, June of 2021, got serious about investing. Fast Eddie, 35. And what's crazy, too, is, I mean, some of you guys, I know, I've seen your portfolios. Some of you guys just have already built six-figure portfolios just in the last couple of years. It's just crazy. You guys, it's crazy. Fast Eddie, 35. Sean, 42. Chris, young, like 8. My mom loved watching the stock channel, and I hated it then. Yeah, I get you, man. Let's see. Ray found out about it in college. Mountain High at 39 years old. Deslock, senior year in high school, my dad asked me to invest $1,000 in a 10% one-year CD. Wow. Oh, and then the next year bought Hawaiian Electric. Yeah. So in my custodian account, Hawaiian Electric was one of the stocks that my dad, every time I'd get birthday or Christmas money or whatever, Hawaiian Electric, Sirius XM, Berkshire Hathaway. What else was in there? Golden Valley Bank, just a local regional bank near my hometown. Those were a few that I remember. Mountain High, I started my retirement account when I was 15. Wow. Adon, I knew of dividends when I was 5 because Grandpa bought Disney stock. That's great, man. Michael, I was 16 years old bagging groceries at Food Lion. They gave profit sharing and stock matched in a 491k account. That was 30 years ago. Wow. 401k. Okay. That's great. That's awesome, guys. Michael found out about it at 14 and started investing the next month. That's wild. David, 20 years ago, but didn't start till I turned 25. 25 is still really young. It's crazy. So, like I said, I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, and I'm like the youngest out of all of my friends, youngest out of my entire friend group, and I still don't even think this is on any of their radar. Crazy. Since I started this channel too, there's only been one. My best friend Bob's been the only one who's ever asked me about the channel or about stocks or anything like that. But otherwise, like none of my other friends have ever expressed any interest in this stuff. Oh, this is interesting. This is a good comment. Mariana said, I didn't know regular people could invest. There was no YouTube or apps when I was in my 20s. Yeah, what a time, what a time to be an investor. It's we're certainly very fortunate. There's more information about this stuff than ever. There's more accessibility to do this than ever. I really don't think in this day and age, I really don't think there's any good excuse to not start investing. It can be as simple as just $5 a week if you wanted it to. $5 a week into ETFs. If you can't make that happen, I think we need to have a conversation and find a way, because that's more than possible. $5 a week. It's not much, but it's a start. Gets you in the habit, and you can scale it from there. That's my thought on that. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something else on that subject. I don't remember. Let's see. TJ is a 22-year-old investor looking to get 10K by the end of the summer, adding 200 a week right now. Good job, my friend. It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. Let's keep going here. Yeah, CSK. I'm sure this is the case for a lot of us. I started during COVID lockdown after reading, and more reading, watching hundreds of YouTube videos. Yeah. I think that's kind of about where, actually, maybe a few months before that, I think I really started taking it serious maybe sometime towards the end of 2019. Like I'd probably been seriously investing for maybe 2 or 3 months prior to, no, not 2 or 3 months, probably 5 or 6 months prior to the COVID crash in March 2020. I don't remember exactly when it was. I wish I did. But yeah, I think COVID really motivated people to look more into this stuff. Let's keep going here. Miguel says, I did a lot of mistakes when I started because for a long time I didn't even know that the concept of dividend stocks even existed. Your content can help save a lot of broken, disappointed hearts. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Miguel. Thank you. But you know what? We all make mistakes, so we're going through it. That's just the name of the game, especially if you're gonna take your finances into your own hands and make an attempt to learn about this stuff. You're bound to make mistakes along the way, but that's totally fine. The best time and the best place to make those mistakes is at the beginning of your investing journey, when hopefully you're not playing with as much money, you're not investing as much, so you don't lose an arm and a leg on some dumb investment. What kind of on that note too, I read something or saw some short video a couple days ago that just blew my mind. Whoever made this video said if you would have invested $100, I'm not going to get the numbers quite right, but in 2018, if you would have invested $100 into Shiba Inu today or at its peak, whenever it was, you would have had something like, and I don't know if I have this quite right, but you would have had something like over $13 million. I think that was the number. It was an insane number, multiple millions of dollars off of just $100 in this stupid thing. That just blew my mind. And it's that sort of allure. It's the allure of those lottery ticket returns that I think can kind of keep people from doing dividend investing, which is understandable. We all want to win the lottery, but the chances of that happening are pretty slim. Let's keep going here. Oh, and I was going to say something else too about this, just about the concept of dividend stocks and, me being I guess us all being so gung-ho about it. I say all this stuff not to say that dividend investing is the way that everyone should invest, because I think there's more than one way to skin the cat. I just know that this style of investing really suits me well. I really enjoy doing this. It makes sense to me. It clicks. I enjoy doing it. I am motivated to continue doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is everyone has different strokes for different folks. Some other people like investing in growth stocks, just like some other people like investing in real estate. Everyone's got their thing, and I don't say what I say to or I don't promote dividend investing as the only way to do it, or I try not to. I think there's so many ways to do things. This is just the way I like to do it. So, not investment advice, as as the quote goes. So, let's see here. Let's keep going. Yeah, Luis said, going back to what we were talking about a moment ago, one thing to thank for the pandemic was finding out about FIRE, financial independence, retire early, and then about dividend investing. Yeah, as horrible as that sounds, he said, but yeah, it's true. And I don't know. I think we're so fortunate to be able to have this platform as a resource. I know YouTube's not like the best place for financial advice, for sure, but I think it's really good for creating awareness around this stuff. Like I personally wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. I probably wouldn't be doing this if I didn't learn about it and find out about it and get exposed to it on YouTube. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that's a really cool thing. And so when I get comments or when I see people saying, or emails or whatever it is of people saying, I started investing X months ago from watching your videos or whatever, I'm like, yep, that's what I love to see more than anything else. That's what it's all about. Just getting people to start and get excited. So Dean says, I call this hour cooking with Ryan. Just made pesto. That's hilarious, man. That sounds really good, too. Um, let's see here. Let's keep going. Potatoes says, please don't skin Peanut. I was talking about skinning the cat. No, it's just I can never do my boy like that. Just figure of speech, you guys know. Let's keep going here. I'm pretty much caught up in the live chat, which is unusual for myself, but let's see. Yeah, the lottery is not an investment strategy. Adam here has a really good point. I find that dividend investing is motivating because you get to see those real paychecks coming in consistently rather than just relying on capital appreciation. Yeah, so I've said it already, but after this, we're doing the after party live stream. And in the after party live streams, I'll do these weekly portfolio reviews, and we'll usually do one a week. And one of the cool things is, it's really cool being able to see other people's portfolios. But ex-Dividend dad, who are going through tonight, I hope you don't mind me talking about this, but he's got a handful of portfolios. I think there's 6 of them in total. I only got to see 2 of them, but the 2 that I got to see, on average, he's bringing in close to $450 a month. And I was looking at that thinking, which once again, you're not going to retire off $450, but I was just thinking, man, it's like the amount that I personally pay for rent every month. It's like, I was thinking that's half that right there every month. I just think about it, the more that your income grows, kind of to your point, Adam, it's very motivating. And the more that your income grows, I also feel that at the same time, you just feel a little bit more financial weight and financial stress being lifted off your shoulders. It's like when you first start on this journey, a lot of us started, like we were talking about, going through COVID and trying to figure out how to make passive income so we didn't have to rely as much on our jobs and stuff like that. I'm sure for a lot of people it was very stressful, and you kind of felt like you had the weight of the world, like you were Atlas carrying the entire globe on your shoulders. But once you start doing this, and can start building up that passive income and see that start to grow over time, it's like with every penny increase in your income, it's like just a little bit more weight coming off your shoulders, and it's like you're getting the light at the end of the tunnel just gets a little bit brighter, and that's just the really cool thing. It's such a tangible way to invest because you can wrap your head around the progress that you're making because you've already, for the most part, you've already established that end goal and what that looks like, what that number looks like. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, just a really cool thing. Let's keep going here. Let's see here. Fast Eddie said, Ryan, how come you're not playing in the World Series of Poker? I did not get an invite to play in the World Series of Poker, unfortunately. I need to learn more about poker. I know the rules for the most part, but I cannot say I'm a skilled player at all. But that'd be fun. If I had more money, I would consider playing more. I actually just started playing pickleball this last weekend. I played with Wayne Nichols, who usually he's on vacation right now, but usually he's here in the live stream. Excuse me, I've talked about him a few times. He's got a channel here on YouTube too. Really great guy. Killing it with options, but he introduced me to pickleball last weekend, and that was a blast. I'd play that 10 times over before I started taking up poker. Anyway, let's keep going. And it looks like, guys, we have 215 people right now in the live stream. It's I'm so happy to see all you guys here hanging out with me tonight. Yeah, this is awesome. It's really cool to see this Dividend Happy Hour continuing to grow and more people coming back and hanging out. I have a lot of fun doing this with all you guys. This is a really good question. Really good question. Ryan, would you consider selling your Apple stock and putting it into a higher yielding stock once you get a good return? Yeah, Toby, I've actually thought about this a bit more recently, and I'm pretty conflicted on it. And I'd like to get your guys' thoughts too. So on one hand, I mean, obviously Apple pays a dividend it's so small that it hardly even counts. It's like a 0.5% yield or something like that. Um, I first started buying Apple back in December, like right before Christmas. And so far, I think my Apple position is up about 45, somewhere between 45 and 50%, which once again is to get a return like that on a Johnson and Johnson or a Procter and Gamble or a Coca-Cola. Good luck in that amount of time. So I've already generated a really nice return. And I've thought about this question too. At what point would I sell that if my goal is to live off this income and get that cash flow? It would make sense at some point to sell Apple. And so I've asked myself at what point would I do that if I even would, especially considering I've talked before about Apple being one of those stocks I'll probably never sell. But after thinking about that a bit more, I think I probably shouldn't have said that because in the grand scheme of things, if we're just talking in terms of cash flow and creating more dividend income, that company is holding me back. That position is holding me back. That money could be allocated elsewhere to generate more income. And also could be, Apple's got a pretty decent 5-year CAGR, but furthermore, I could reinvest into something with a higher yield and also something that has a higher 5-year growth rate. That wouldn't be hard to do. So I think about all those things, but then simultaneously, I'm reminded of the quote from Peter Lynch that I think actually Peter Lynch came up with this, or first said it. Don't sell your winners and buy your losers. Not saying I would have to buy a losing stock in doing this transaction, but don't sell your winners and buy more of your losers because it would be like cutting your flowers and watering your weeds. So that quote comes to mind as well. And so this is where I get a bit conflicted because I'm not sure what the right answer is. I'm not sure if there even is a right answer because I do think Apple's a great company. I think it's been done really well for me. But at the same time, I know I could get more income and more growing income elsewhere. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll sell it. I'm open to the idea, but I don't know. It also, I wouldn't want to sell it right now at 40-something% and have it continue to climb. I think it's a good company that's got some more growth in it. So with that in mind, I might be best off just continuing to hold for now until that changes. So hopefully that makes sense. That's a really tough question to answer. Let's keep going here. And I get this. Don't sell Apple. Doesn't matter if it's at $3,000 or whatever. I see that, but I understand that, but at the same time, I just don't know that I don't know that I would think like that. I used to think I'll continue to say this too, because some stocks this is the case, but we talk about dividend investing in the dividend stocks in our portfolio being ones that we buy and hold forever, and in theory, that's a really nice idea. But at the same time, I don't know that I want to get too attached to any one particular position because there are instances where it can make sense to sell out of companies. So I'm trying to keep an open mind with everything and just try and figure out what's best. This is the tough part about investing, is knowing what's right in these situations. So let's see here. Trace says, "Hey Ryan, it's Trace again. Hey Trace, can you please give me a shout out? It would make my night." Trace, my friend, here's to you. You know what? Here's to you, Trace. Thank you for joining us for the first time on the Dividend Happy Hour. Happy to see you. Let's see here. Yeah, Russ. Wow, I was waiting for someone to ask this question. Geez, can you please list the top 10 dividend-paying pharmaceutical stocks ranked by the profit potentiality of all the developmental drugs in their pipeline? Sure. Let me let's see. I scribbled that on a napkin earlier. Just let me Let me find it. Let's see. Keep going. Let's see. That was good, Russ. Let's keep going here. I see a lot of you guys saying regarding Apple, don't sell Apple. I see some saying I trimmed Apple. Take the profits and reinvest. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Apple, even if I sold it, I'm always going to have exposure to Apple because I'm still in, well, not always, but so long as it's in the S&P 500, I'll have exposure to Apple. So I'd still have some exposure to it. So, and then Lamb here's got kind of the best of both worlds. Don't sell your holding, maybe just take some profits. Yeah, that's a good point too. So it's tough. Let's see. But yeah, I don't to really wrap up this question and give you a solid answer. Yes. I don't plan on selling Apple anytime soon. I just, I think it's going to be a good one to hold for a period of time, and maybe later down the road if it continues to appreciate and whatever, then I'll consider it. If I ever need more of that income, then I can. It's easy to sell that, lock in those profits, and reinvest into something with a higher yield, I suppose. But yeah, I'm not in any rush to sell it. I'll continue holding it. This is good. Ryan looks like he's having a midlife crisis over Apple. I'm just thinking out loud, man. I'm just thinking out loud. You guys, once I start kind of staring off into space, I'm thinking. I'm really trying to think these things through. They're pretty complex. So at least for me. Let's keep going again. Oh, this is cool. Elvin has been watching you for a while from Sweden. That's awesome. Really cool. So this is a good question. If you decide to sell Apple, would you invest the money in a covered call ETF like JEPI? I wouldn't invest any more into JEPI. Or would you allocate the funds into VYM or SCHD? I probably wouldn't do that either. I'd probably, at this point, I'd probably spread it around into a few different positions in my portfolio. I'd add some to Williams-Sonoma. That would maybe get a decent chunk of it. But I don't know. I don't even want to entertain this because I'm not selling Apple right now. Oh, cool. Yeah, man says, my husband watches this all the time. Can you wish him a happy 29th birthday? Absolutely. Well, tell me his name. I want to wish him happy birthday by name real quick. But I'd love to wish him a happy birthday. His name is Jacob. Jacob, happy birthday, my friend. I hope you have the best day. I hope you have 2 margaritas in your presence, 1 in each hand. And if they're not gone in the next 3 minutes, we're gonna have some problems. But happy birthday, man. Once again, I hope you have a really, really good day. I appreciate all the support on the channel and keep up the great work. So, good stuff. Let's see. Let's see. What's WMS? I keep seeing this one. Thoughts on WMS? I don't know that I'm familiar with this. Advanced drainage systems. I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. Let's take a spin. Let's take a spin through it real quick, actually. Okay? We haven't done that. I don't feel like we've done this for a little while where we've kind of gone through some stocks. But, yeah, let's check this out. Let me put it up on the screen. Give me a sec. Okay. You guys see that? There we go. So let's go check it out real quick. So first things first, WMS, Advanced Drainage Systems. We'll go back to the income statement momentarily, and I'm only going to spend a minute on this. So we've only got about 5 minutes left on the stream, and I'm happy to keep this going too in the after party if you guys want to check that out. But looking at the dividend yield or the dividend stats, so pretty low yield, but very low payout ratio. This is nice to see. So this dividend doesn't appear, just based on this, to be at any risk of being cut or anything anytime soon. And they're doing a decent job of growing it. Nice high 5-year CAGR with 7 years of growth. Just over here on the income statement, we're seeing a lot of growth in the revenue and the gross profits. And it looks like over time, just looking at the numbers here, it looks like, I don't want to change this, it looks like the profitability is increasing over time for the most part, I would say. I mean, it started 10% negative profit. I think that's what that means. Well, no, maybe it's not. It's kind of all over the place, actually. Right? Yeah, so I guess it's all over the place. Huh. Higher cost of revenues in the last couple of years. Okay. Let's scroll down. Once again, we're not going to spend too much time on this. Shares outstanding are going up. Okay, that's a bit questionable. Earnings per share is still going up. That's nice. Let's check out the debt real quick. Okay. Debt's been increasing, so 1.1 billion in net debt. That's not bad. It looks like the debt's pretty serviceable. They could pay it off within 3 years if they use all the free cash flow if they wanted to. So it's not too bad. I don't know anything about what the company does, but I don't know. Could be cool. So let's see here. Let's keep going. Yeah, Citizen says, Ryan, do you know you have people pretending to be you on Discord? Like every month I get it. Yeah, dude, those people are relentless. It's crazy. I'll get people will tag me almost every day in the Discord and say, hey, there's another one, and so I have to go remove them. But yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, Eli, this is a good point. Remember, you just made a video about Microsoft if you invested in it in 1986, which is a low yield, so lower yielding one. So that's a good point too. I mean, the yield on cost with Apple is going to be nice over the years. I've got time. I'm not going to sell Apple. I mean, I've thought about it just because I've thought about it and entertained the idea. I'm not super serious about doing it, but it's good to think about. There's nothing wrong with thinking about these things and thinking out loud as I'm doing here, I suppose. So let's see here. Let's keep going. Yeah, Luis said, can't remember the last time we saw Seeking Alpha on a live stream. I know, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like I haven't been pulling up too many stocks here on the live stream. Seems like a lot of the questions I've been getting, which I actually appreciate, seems like a lot of the questions and a lot of the conversation lately on the live stream has been geared more towards just some more conceptual things as it pertains to investing. And I like talking about that stuff. I like talking about the psychology and the philosophy, and I don't know. I like that stuff. Sometimes it's nice to go through that. So, Andrew says, how do you feel about MPW and Stag? So, I'll be honest. I really haven't caught up, or I haven't been keeping tabs on MPW. Well, Stag neither, but I haven't been keeping tabs on MPW for some time. So I really can't speak to what's been going on with it lately because I just don't know. Stag, from what I remember, is a pretty solid real estate investment trust. From what I remember, they were growing really nicely. So I'd if I had to choose between the two, if I had to invest into one right now, I'd probably would feel more secure about Stag. But once again, things with MPW could be fine. I just haven't paid attention to it. So, yeah, okay, this is a good question too. Do you think ORCC, now OBDC, is a good buy? I actually just bought some more shares this week. I picked up one more share of that this week. I don't think it's a bad time to buy. It's been a really good business development company for me. I've been happy to own it. So, yeah, I like it. And we've only got a couple more minutes left here in the live stream. But once again, guys, if you want to keep the party going and check out tonight's portfolio review of Dividend Ads portfolio, check out the Patreon. It's a lot of fun over there, and it's actually free to join. You get a free 7-day trial, so you don't have to pay anything to tune in tonight. Once again, we can keep the party going, and yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. So Kevin here, Miguel, sorry, I got a little distracted. Don't you think that Seeking Alpha has been misleading a little bit with data? KRC, for example, looks weird now. Well, what looks weird about it specifically? I'm curious. Let me know in the live chat, Miguel, what you mean by it looks weird. Oops, that's Kroger. So one thing, one important thing, I wrote about this last week or a couple weeks ago. If you go on Seeking Alpha, over to the dividend scorecard page, typically for normal companies, it'll show the earnings payout ratio right here. And it used to do the same thing for real estate investment trusts. It would just show the earnings payout ratio, which is why oftentimes for real estate investment trusts on Seeking Alpha, you would see the payout ratio over 100%. A lot of people were, I'd get so many comments. Anytime I talked about realty income, WP carry, anything like that, people would always say, yeah, but the dividend's in trouble because there's a 100% payout ratio. But that's not the case. So Seeking Alpha, fortunately, this was a really good move. They recently changed the payout ratio to now show the FFO, the funds from operations payout ratio for real estate investment trust. So when we're looking at the payout ratio right now for KRC, that's what we're seeing, the FFO payout ratio, as we should. That's the right metric to look at. So, yeah, okay, we'll be a bit more specific with the dividend stats. What's funky about them? And Seeking Alpha, they do have faulty data sometimes. I've noticed Google Finance has been having issues as well with a lot of companies. So, but yeah, Seeking Alpha sometimes is notorious for having incorrect dividend stats. But, okay. Apparently they fixed it a couple days ago, showed negative dividend yield. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, Striper, man. You had your surgery. I see you in here. I hope it went well. Hope it went well, my friend. But anyway, guys, yeah, Kevin beat me to it. We got to wrap it up. 6 o'clock, we got to get going, move over to the after party. I'd love to see all you guys over there. Yeah, like Zal says, join the Discord, like the video, do all the stuff. But yeah, I'd love to see you guys over in the after party live stream. Once again, the link's at the top of the description right there. Check it out. And otherwise, guys, stay tuned for Sunday's video. It's going to be a really exciting one, a really cool topic, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. But anyway, if I don't see you in the after party and if I don't hear from you in Sunday's video, which please, if you watch Sunday's video, leave me a comment, say what's up. Definitely check that out. If I don't see you in either of those places, the after party or Sunday's video, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Hope you stay out of trouble. And I appreciate all of your guys' support. It's really cool that we have this community, and it's really really cool to see this community continue to grow. So you guys keep up the good work, and I'll see you in the next one.